Really what we're going to talk about today, this is normally when I present this, it's a marketing made simple checklist, but this is really your COVID-19 exit strategy. These are the things you need to do and the pieces you need to put in place in your business to not only come out of this, in a stronger position than you were when all of this happened, but to position yourself as an expert in your industry, to start making more connections with your audience and position yourself so that, when people are ready to spend a little bit more freely, they're just automatically coming to you instead of your competitors. We all do marketing in some form or another with our business. And really the question is, are you making money in your marketing, or is it just draining what you have? Are you just throwing money at, Facebook ads or at an ad agency, but you're not really seeing a return? And if that's the case, we're gonna kind of take a step back, and we're actually gonna create a checklist here of the 5 things you need to do. And a lot of people can do this on their own. Some people need some help along the way. And so we're here, and we're going to teach you what those 5 things are, how to implement those, and then some possible solutions if you have questions about any of this. And if you're taking notes, that's fine, but just by attending or registering, we are actually going to send you a mini training that goes along with this via email. So you don't have to do anything to get that. You're going to get that automatically. And it's going to walk through each of these steps in a lot more detail. So this is the introduction, but you're going to get a lot more content from us as well that's going to help you develop this. So a couple questions I want to ask, is your ad spending getting new customers? There's acquiring new customers, there's cultivating the relationship with current clients or leads, and then developing relationships and continuing relationships with your ongoing customers. So we want to make sure your ad spend is actually getting you new customers. We also want to make sure your website is converting people to becoming customers. If your website's just a static resource that doesn't have any engagement on it, that's a problem. We're going to talk about that as well. And then we're going to make sure you're getting emails. Do you have a way to get emails from your website? And I don't mean sign up for my newsletter. We need to be providing something, not just a newsletter or something, but something of value. So we're going to talk about that. And so if you're answering no to any of these questions, then you're in the right place. And a lot of times what people don't always understand is that there are phases in a relationship that we need to make sure we're following. And we understand this when you're dating, but we don't always understand this when it comes in terms of business. And so the 3 phases I'm talking about are curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. And so when we talk about this checklist we're gonna introduce, we're gonna talk about it in those 3 phases, because a lot of times with our marketing, we're asking for a commitment right away. We're saying, hey, we're so-and-so, do business with us. And that's just not how people operate, especially because there's so much choice and so much information out there. You need to spark their curiosity first, and then you need to enlighten them about what you do and how it benefits them, and then you can ask for the commitment. So following this checklist actually does those things automatically. So the 5 things we're going to talk about here today we call the marketing made simple checklist. The first thing is your one-liner. Some people may call this your elevator pitch. And if you're familiar with StoryBrand, or if you've been to any of my StoryBrand presentations, a lot of times we do a one-liner exercise. So we're going to talk about what are the components that go into a one-liner. How do you introduce your business to the rest of the world? And the first thing this does, it needs to spark curiosity. If you're not introducing your business to spark some sort of story loop, some question in their mind, people aren't going to remember you, and they're just getting too much information. So you need to do something to kind of lodge in their mind about what you do and what benefit they get from it. So once we have a one-liner, a lot of times that sparks the curiosity, and then that leads to a website. And we say a wireframed website, what we want to focus on are the words first. A website can look great, but if it doesn't have the right words, it's not going to produce any results. So we need to make sure that we're getting the words right on our website. So we need to make sure that we're building on that curiosity, because that kind of moves from curiosity to enlightenment. And so that website is a crucial piece. Then what needs to be on your website is a lead generator. And this is where enlightenment really kicks in, is now you're going to provide something of value to them. And so when you do this, you're asking for their email address. And I actually value somebody's email address at about $20. That's kind of like what they feel like they're giving up when they give you their email address. So what you're producing, the value actually needs to be a lot more than $20 worth. Would somebody spend at least $20 on the PDF you provide, or maybe it's a video training, or maybe it's a webinar that they're going to go to, or a checklist or something. You need to have something of high value to get them to give you that email address. So then, as we continue the enlightenment phase, you need a nurturing campaign. And what this is an automated email sequence that follows up on that lead generator. So you're just providing more value. So if your lead generator helps maybe solve a problem, that nurturing campaign expands on that and maybe takes it a few steps further. And so you need to kind of think about, okay, my current clients, they typically struggle with this particular thing. So your lead generator helps them kind of work through that. And the nurturing campaign continues that even further. The interesting thing we don't always think about as business owners is that people need to see or hear or read something at least 8 times before they start actually metabolizing it. And so they need to hear your one-liner. They need to read your website. They need to read through your lead generator. They need to get multiple emails from you before they even start processing that they need what you're going to be providing them. So while this seems very repetitious to us because we're in our business every day, we know what we do, to somebody outside of our business, this seems very natural. They want this flow of information because this is how you develop a relationship. And then you can finally get to a sales campaign. And this is where you're asking for the commitment. So we've gone from curiosity to enlightenment to commitment. And the sales campaign is just another email campaign that explains the value again. It explains, we can do this for you, and this will provide you so much value at such a little cost relatively that it just makes sense to do business with us. So we're going to talk about creating these 5 things as our kind of post-pandemic lockdown exit strategy. So we can create these things, begin collecting emails, begin nurturing an audience, and beginning to do more sales. All right, so let's talk about the one-liner. The one-liner is a 2 to 3 sentence, like just little introduction to what you do. It has to start with a problem. If we're not starting with a problem, then people don't have any reason to listen to us. Again, if you're familiar with StoryBrain, you need to open a story loop. Every good movie opens with a story loop. It's some sort of question or problem that we feel like we want a resolution to. So I use this example once in a while of I like to cook. So a personal chef, say if you're at a dinner party and you're a personal chef and somebody comes, hey, what do you do? You say, well, I'm a personal chef. And okay, and they may ask, well, have you cooked for anybody famous, or what is your most popular meal? It doesn't really lead anywhere. But if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what do you do? And you say, well, you know how most families struggle to eat healthy meals and eat together as a family? Well, I'm a personal chef. Well, now he started with a problem, and subconsciously in that person's mind, they're like, oh, well, we struggle to eat healthy meals a lot and eat as a family. So yeah, tell me more. And so now, because you started with a problem, that person's more likely to remember you. So we want to make sure we start with a problem. Then we want to follow that up with a solution. So right away, problem, solution. Because now we've opened that story loop. If we just have 2 to 3 sentences, we need to make sure we close the story loop. So this is where you introduce your product or whatever your service is. Again, in the case of our home chef, they may say something like, we have a pre-planned menu of healthy meal choices that you pick from, and then we take care of the rest. So that's their solution to the problem. And then we need to paint a picture of what life's going to look like after they've worked with us, so that they know what the finish line looks like. They know what the end goal is. And so we need to make sure that we're showing them that we don't just leave them hanging. And so we could say, that way mealtime isn't a hassle. You spend more time together as a family and you're eating more healthy. So that would be a sample one-liner for our personal chef. What you have to realize is your product is medicine. And so, but people don't take medicine unless they know they have a problem. So that's why we need to start with the problem. Once we have this one-liner, we need to make sure that we're putting it everywhere. So, we need to make sure that maybe it's on the back of our business cards. Maybe it becomes our email signature. It needs to be on your website. It's how you introduce yourself at networking events. So we need to resist the urge when somebody comes up to us and say, well, I'm the CEO of this. Again, that's not a problem. You need the first words to come out of your mouth to be a problem, so that they have something to kind of hook in their mind about what you do. So that's our one-liner. Here's an example. Sorry, I'm gonna move my picture of everybody here. So most people get stressed out when they think about having to remodel their kitchens, so they never actually do it. MC Contractors takes the pain out of your remodel project so you get your dream kitchen faster without all hassle. So the problem, getting stressed out about all the work that has to be done when you're thinking about your kitchen remodel. The solution, MC Contractors, they're going to take away the pain because they're going to take care of all that for you. And then the result being you get your dream kitchen faster without the hassle. So that's just one example of what a one-liner could look like. So we need to make sure we have that, because that's what's going to spark that curiosity. That's what we need to kind of get people, okay, now they may go to our website. They're interested enough. So what are some of the things that need to be on a website to make sure that we're moving them from that curiosity phase to the enlightenment phase? Well, first of all, we need to make sure we're going to pass the grunt test. So what is the grunt test? It's 3 questions. And we need to be able to answer these 3 questions when your website loads without scrolling. So in newspaper terms, we call this above the fold. That term is kind of carried over into web design. But before people scroll on your website, they need to be able to answer these 3 questions in about 5 seconds. And those 3 questions are, what do you do? What benefit do I get from it? And how do I get it? So you need to make sure if you've got your website pulled up, or after this, you can pull up your website and just look at your landing page. When you get to your website, do you answer these 3 questions? Because if you don't, you're probably going to have a higher than normal bounce rate. People are looking to answer these 3 questions when they get to your site. And if they can't, a lot of times they won't even scroll to look for them. So we need to make sure we pass the grunt test. We need to include a clear call to action. And we actually have to do it multiple times. The top right corner of your website is prime real estate. So if you don't have a really obvious button in the top right of your corner that gets people started to do business with you, that's something you can fix right away and probably start seeing some kind of a better engagement through your website. You need to make sure that call to action is the same call to action you're using multiple times on your website, because you don't want to be confusing when you're calling people to action. And learn more is not a clear call to action. I don't know what I'm getting when I learn more, but schedule a consultation, complete an intake form. Those are clear calls to action that I know what I'm going to be doing, and I know it will get the ball rolling working with you. We need to make sure we're making our website scannable. So this kind of has 2 or 3 rules to it. Lots of big bold fonts, bullet point sections, and no long paragraphs. So if you have long paragraphs on your website, you can usually break those up into some bullet points with headers. And that brings our last section here. every section should have a header that makes it scannable so everybody knows what they're reading in each section of the website. So those are just kind of some rules of thumb. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at kind of a fake website that has all these things so you can kind of see this in action. So right away, do we pass the grunt test? Well, I look in our eyes actually start in the top left. They move over to the top right, they make a Z pattern. Then they come down to the middle, and then they swoop left to right again. So I can see right away, Circuit e-bikes. Okay, it's an e-bike company. I move over, find a dealer. Okay, well, that's how I would get started. So I come to the middle, be the leader of the pack. Okay, so that's what we call like an aspirational identity. That's something that's kind of like that end result that we're showing people what they could be. Get a revolutionary new e-bike. Okay, so this is obviously an e-bike store, retailer. Again, I can find a dealer. That's the obvious way to get started. But then I see what we call a value stack at the bottom. So it's providing me subconsciously even more information and value because I want these things. I want to save the environment. I want to save money. I want to save time. So within 5 seconds of seeing this website, I'm already drawn in. If I've ever been looking for a bike or maybe looking to get out of traffic or maybe a new way of getting to work or a new way of exercise, this with so few words has already drawn me in. So as we scroll down, we're going to talk about some just different sections that are kind of necessary flow to a website. What we like to do after the heading section is have either a loss aversion or problem section. So just like a story or a movie kind of goes, positive, and then something bad happens, and something good happens, and something bad happens. We kind of also can have that contrast in our website, and that actually just engages people because, again, it follows a storyline flow. So here we say, life is too short to sit in traffic. Traffic is no fun. Don't be held back. You were designed for more. So what we're doing is we're actually identifying an external, internal, and philosophical problem all right here. External problem, life's too short to sit in traffic. Internal problem is traffic's no fun. Like I don't like sitting in traffic. I feel like it's wasting my time. And the philosophical problem is I was designed for more than just sitting in traffic. So again, just a few amount of words, we're really identifying the story that this, somebody coming to this website could be relating to. So as we scroll down, here now is where we kind of introduce what we call the guide section. Here's where you finally get to talk about yourself, but you do that through two different ways, empathy and authority. And so here's the empathy piece. We don't just care about bikes, we care about you. And that's just a great statement to say, hey, we understand what you're going through. And then the authority piece, well, they have more than 20,000 happy riders. So they've sold a lot of bikes, more than 5 million gallons of gas saved, more than 100,000 commute hours saved. So that's a lot of authority in the fact that they've been doing this for a while. And again, you see that find a dealer, that button is in all of these sections. And then they introduce their bikes. So here, if you had different divisions of your business or different services, here's where you could introduce those services. But then we have a plan. And so usually a 3 to 4 step plan is the best way to do this. And so this is really simple. Get fitted, choose a bike, lead the pack. So again, it's simple, but it's necessary. People don't move into confusion. They don't move forward not knowing what's going to happen next. So if you can lay out a really simple plan for people to follow, they're more likely to do it. And again, there's that find a dealer button. Here's their lead generator. Now this is what a lot of websites are missing. So we've sparked the curiosity, we're enlightening them. If they're not ready to do business with us, but they're still interested, there's a pretty good chance they're going to download this PDF and provide their email address. So they're interested, but they're not ready to commit yet. That's really what your lead generator, that's the audience your lead generator is targeting. So you want to make sure you have an easy way for them to get this PDF and for you to capture their email and then follow up with a nurturing campaign all automatically. And then down here, we call this the junk drawer. This is where all those links that you thought were really important that you put at the top of your website, this is actually the best place for them. People will look for a contact us page or about us or careers or any of those pages. They'll look for them if they need to. You want them to go through your entire website. So move all of your links at the top put them down in the footer. It keeps people from jumping away from your homepage so that they can spend more time kind of fully getting a better idea of what you're doing and what you're presenting. So that's just a sample website, just so it kind of makes sense of the flow of some of these things. If you're familiar with StoryBrand, these sections probably are going to sound familiar, but we want to make sure that you need to have each of those sections on a website. That really is allows people to kind of process what you do in a logical way. Okay, so let's move on to the lead generator. You need to make sure that you have an interesting title. This is, if you read news headlines or other lead generators, a lot of them will include numbers. People like numbers, 7 things every new homeowner should know, or top 5 mistakes early retirees make with their retirement. So, make it something that people can relate to and that kind of draws them in, or ask a question. Again, anytime you can open a story loop in somebody's head by asking a question or posing a problem, that makes it for an interesting title. Provide content that offers value. So here's, again, I throw that $20 number. You need to make sure that what you're providing has value. I've never run into a company yet that gave too much away. So, anytime you can provide more value, you want to do that. Don't feel like you need to hold back information. When you provide value over and over, you're operating at an information level up here. Your clients are down here. Just because you're providing value doesn't mean they can do everything on their own. They're still going to need you. They're still going to want to work with you to move forward, because they're going to want to make sure they're doing it right. And they're going to see you as the expert because you've provided so much value to them already. So this qualifies your audience too. So I would rather have an email list of 5,000 people who have come through my website and given me their email address than 100,000 emails of a giant list I purchased of people that have no idea who I am. So having a lead generator on your website helps you qualify the leads you have. All of those are warm leads of people that want to do business with you. And they're much more likely to read your emails. They're much more likely to engage with you and then do business with you. And again, you need to get the email address. And so this is kind of where also we see a lot of people, they'll provide their lead generator, but they won't capture an email, or they'll capture an email and they won't do anything with it. It's just in an Excel sheet somewhere, or it's just in their mailbox. So we want to make sure that we're automating the process to go from lead generator to a nurturing campaign. We'll talk about that in a little bit. One thing people ask when it comes to lead generators on websites is do I use a pop-up or not? We all have various feelings. Most people hate pop-ups, but the thing is pop-ups do work. So that's a personal preference thing. Some of our clients want a pop-up. The key thing, if you're using a pop-up, give folks at least 10 to 15 seconds on your site before you blast them with something. If you've created a well-designed website, they're going to spend time on it. So give them the time to process and read through your website, and then offer them the lead generator. All right. So, I talk a lot about StoryBrand. They include this. This was their lead generator that they created. And this, I couldn't even tell you how many emails they captured with this, but they made the 5-minute marketing makeover. And it was 3 5-minute videos that talked about what we're talking about now. He went through that Circuit e-bikes website and explained, why each of those sections were important. And this was huge. That people wanted to know this information. It was tremendous value. I can't imagine how much it cost them to produce it, but the return they got on it from the amount of emails they collected and converted over to clients that now, paid to go to one of their workshops or bought their online training was huge. So there's power behind this. It's really figuring out the right lead generator. And if you're struggling to figure out what that might be, I always tell people, what are the top 3 questions that every client comes to you with? If you had to if you had to create a FAQ section right now, and I just asked you, what are the top 3 things everybody asks? Well, one of those things, that's probably going to make a good lead generator, because people coming to you, these are the questions they're asking. So if you can solve that problem for them automatically, just up front, just for their email address, a lot of people will do that. Now, the other thing about a lead generator is you need to make it look nice. It needs to look professional. Don't just type up a Word document and make that your lead generator. Nobody really wants to give their email address for a white paper. So, enlist a graphic designer. You think like magazine style. There should be some little pop outs, or very colorful headings. Some highlighted quote sections, some really good imagery. So if you're going to make a PDF, make sure it looks good. Make sure you've got a good cover to it as well. And if you can't do any of those things, that's fine. Those are things we can help you. There's tons of great graphic designers out there. And it's not as expensive as you may think it is to create this. Okay, so let's keep moving here. So we're going to follow this up with a nurturing campaign. This positions your brand as the guide. And this is the most important piece, because now they were curious, they've been enlightened by you. Now we're ready to kind of move them towards that commitment phase. You're going to position yourself as the expert, because you're just providing so much value over and over and over again, that when they think of, whether you're a financial advisor or a real estate agent or a lawn care company, whatever it is, you're going to be at the top of their mind all the time, because they just keep getting good information from you. And some people think, well, not everybody's opening my emails, and that's fine. There are a lot of emails I get that I don't unsubscribe from, but I don't open, because I don't need it right now, but I want to stay on the list, because there's going to come a point in time in the future I'm going to need that, and I just want to keep hearing from you. Again, you need to repeat the problem you solve. Marketing is an exercise in repetition. Remember, I mentioned that 8 times people need to hear about you and what you do before they even process. So don't skip around to a lot of different problems. Continue to repeat the problem that you solve. And remind people that you exist. So like I said, even if people don't open your emails, they're still seeing your name. Somebody's phone that's an intimate part of them. And to show up on somebody's phone on a daily, weekly, monthly basis is kind of an honor at this point, because, people carry their phones everywhere. Right now they're spending enormous amount of times on their phone. So if you're not showing up on people's phones on a regular basis, you're being forgotten. And so again, even if they don't open, they're seeing your name, they're seeing your business. And again, when they get back to the point where people are spending money, kind of like they were 3 or 4 months ago, they're going to be thinking about you. So you want to make sure you're there. And again, continue to offer value. Continue to find new ways of answering questions and solving problems. And if you don't know what that is, maybe you reach out to your current clients and ask them. Do a survey. Hey, what is your biggest struggle right now? What is the biggest thing? If all our services were free, what would you come and ask us to do for you? And figure that out. We're in the process of reaching out to our customers and saying, hey, what's your biggest struggle when it comes to marketing your small business, and how can we change what we do and the way we operate to help you there? So again, continue to find new ways to offer value. And again, that all needs to be automated. You shouldn't have to do anything from the time somebody comes to your website and that they're getting all of your emails. If you're having to do anything in that process, then we need to fix that. So then we can move into the sales campaign. So again, this is an email campaign where, again, you've made it clear you can solve a customer's problem. So we've moved from curiosity to enlightenment, and now we're ready to ask for the sale. We're ready to ask for some commitment here. Also during this process, here's where you overcome objections. And so in each of the emails in a sales campaign, use that to overcome an objection. Well, you're too expensive. Well, here's actually how we can make you money. Or I don't have time to do what you're doing. Well, actually, our process is pretty simple, and we do all the work for you, so it doesn't take any of your time. I'm not ready for, whatever you're offering. Well, that's okay. Can we just schedule maybe an initial consultation and we'll follow up with you in a month, or, you know, whatever it is. You want to start overcoming objections. So again, you're making it easier for them to want to work with you. And here's what I mentioned, introduce a paradigm shift. This is a great time to be doing this because the companies that are shifting a little bit of the way they do business are the ones winning. You know, so my wife, she loves Noah Grants, downtown Zionsville here. And they have just done a phenomenal job of shifting the way they operate so that they stay in business. And so it's Friday night, we're gonna end up ordering takeout from Noah Grants, and I'm not gonna be able to find a spot to stop for 5 minutes because all of downtown Zionsville is taken up by cars parked on the road waiting for Noah Grant's carryout, and their people are running around everywhere. I have no worries about them staying in business right now because every time I've gone over there, you know, you can't even find a place to park. So if you can think about a different way of doing business that makes it easier for people to do business with you during this time, whether it's working virtually, you know, it's all kind of very business specific. People are going to be drawn to that. They understand that things are going to have to change a little bit. And here's the most important part: ask for the sale. Your sales campaign needs to make it very clear what you're asking for. You know, I am asking you to complete this project with us, get this service from us, buy this product, whatever it is. So we've talked a lot about websites. I want to make sure we kind of take a look at, you know, this is kind of a website gone wrong. So if you've spent a bunch of money and you have something like this and your website says, your journey starts here. Well, let's start at the top left like we did before. I have no idea what you do. Let's say I see an A with a slash through it, and I look over to the top right, and there's no clear call to action, and you have a bunch of links over there that are going to take me away from your homepage. And then I can either learn more or get started, but I don't know what either of those mean. And Artisan Innovative Solutions doesn't explain to me anything either. So when you look at your website, if it looks more like this rather than the e-bikes website, you're losing business. People are coming to this page and they're confused. They're having to spend too much energy trying to figure out what you do. If you can solve their problem, they're gonna hit back on their browser and they're gonna go find somebody else. So again, we wanna make sure that our website passes the grunt test. We've got a lot of clear calls to action, and then we kind of follow that flow that we talked about earlier. Again, here's kind of, this is the way, this is the outline kind of we want to follow. Let's kind of just jump through this again. So there's a lot of variations to kind of still follow this format, but again, these are the parts of the website we need to make sure that we have. Okay, let's talk about why this is. First of all, if you create this checklist and this sales funnel to be all automated, this works for you 24 hours a day. Once somebody comes to your website, you don't need to be awake for them to get your lead generator, to get your follow-up emails, to get your sales campaign. This all just happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And unlike having a newsletter that you have to produce every month, you don't need to do that. You should have at least just one piece of content that just has value, that gets people onto your email list. This wins clients over without sounding pushy because it follows those 3 phases of a relationship. You know, when we get involved with salespeople that jump right to commitment, that's where we put up our guard. But if we've started with curiosity and then we've moved to enlightenment and then we ask for the commitment, that's a natural flow. That's what people expect when they kind of are interacting with businesses. So this is an important process to make sure you follow, so you hit those 3 phases of the relationship. And this gets you enormous return because this is something you build once and then runs forever. So this isn't something you have to continue making. But what you can do is, once you get an effective sales funnel that does all this and it's getting results, well, that pays for another one. And you build a second sales funnel, and you can build a third, and you can continue. You could segment your audience. Maybe if you're a financial planner, maybe you build a sales funnel for early retirees or people that are just approaching retirement. But then you create a sales funnel for younger individuals, maybe newly married couples. And then you maybe create a sales funnel for people in retirement, making sure they're doing the right things. So you can segment these kind of however you want based on your business. But it gets an amazing return because you create it once and then you let it run. And the other piece is this, like I mentioned, is, I mentioned marketing is an exercise in memorization. So you need to make sure you're communicating the same points over and over, the same problems, the same solutions. Don't continually, come up with all sorts of new things in all of your marketing communications. Have some stability there so people understand what you do, how you do it, and why it matters to them. Okay, so talk about this. Make sure you have a plan. If you follow this plan with these 5 steps, you're going to see a return. Your email list is going to grow. People are going to respond and engage with you. And as we exit through this crisis, people are going to be more likely to do business with you because you've already provided them value. That's going to set you apart from your competition, who's not really doing anything right now because they're just so worried about spending money. If you provided value, people are going to start working with you. So I wanted to mention something new that we are doing, and we're actually kind of restructuring how we provide our services to better fit the needs of small businesses here in Indianapolis. So we're actually creating a virtual marketing director kind of product. And so what this is going to do is allow businesses, we'll partner with businesses, and we'll actually do a marketing assessment of what you're doing and come up with a plan. And then we actually implement that plan for you. We manage it, we build it, and we automate it all for you. And then we spread the costs out over a period of 12 months. So if you need a new website, if you need a sales funnel, if you need your social media accounts managed, if you wanted to get into Facebook ads, we can create a plan that includes all of these things or any little bit of these things and spread your costs out. So you're not paying, an exorbitant fee up front to build a new website or to get a sales funnel or a Facebook ad campaign. So we can spread your costs out. And so you can get started now, even though, money is tight, you don't have thousands of dollars to lay out on a new big marketing project. Some other services we can provide, just if you need blog writing content or more search engine optimization techniques like backlinks or things like that. It doesn't matter. You could even come to us and say, hey, my budget is $300 or $400 a month. What could you do for me? We can start there too, kind of the name your own price tool with Progressive. If you just have a marketing budget and you want to do something, we can build a plan for you. So this is we're really excited about this. This is something new we're doing. We're actually already launching it with customers that we've met with over the past couple of weeks that are really excited about this. And so in the emails that you're going to get that kind of go over all the sales funnel training we've talked about, there's opportunities for you to reach out to us for us to do that marketing assessment with you. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know. We'd be happy to chat with you. I'll make sure Zach does put our emails in the chat. If you just want to email us directly, you can do that. Like I said, starting next week, you'll get some emails from us. Okay, so I have been talking for a long time. And so now it's time, if anybody has some questions, we can turn your mic on, and you don't have to put them in the chat. We can just have a conversation. Kind of do this so everybody can see each other again.
I see Carly's raised her hand.
Go for it. Oh, I think you're still muted.
There we go. My
Awesome.
space bar wasn't working for whatever reason. So 2 questions.
Yes.
If you're using multiple platforms for your marketing, like if you are using your website and if you have like we have multiple platforms because we have members in all age ranges. We want to be able to make sure that everybody gets our communication.
Yeah.
If we're marketing for different products or different solutions for problems, should there be variety in the way that we explain it depending on the platform, or should it be the same information here that it is here, that it is here? Or should it just be like a little bit of a tease here to lead it here?
So I think your information should be consistent as a company. So if you're using different platforms, all that information and all the content you're putting out should be the same. So just because it's going to a different platform and maybe a little bit different audience, I wouldn't completely change the content. I'd like to dig in a little bit to make sure that's the direction I would go with some more information. And we don't need to have that discussion right now, but I'd like to see to maybe make sure I'm giving you the right guidance on that. Just to kind of dig into what different platforms you're using, what different audiences are you using for that platform. But typically, as a brand and as a company, I would make your communication consistent.
Okay. And question number 2, is there a sweet spot for a number of links that is listed in the first fold?
So I would have 2. I would have your direct call to action, getting started with you, whether it's, schedule an appointment, request a call, and then you can also have a link to your transitional, like that lead generator. You could have, maybe 2 buttons right there, and that second one would be going to your lead generator. Okay. Honestly, the About Us, the services, products, FAQs, I recommend all that stuff, move it to the bottom. Because what's the point of having a great, well-designed website if people aren't going to read it? They're just going to click a link at the top, forget why they came to your website, and go somewhere else.
So it like throws them into the weeds almost.
Yeah, exactly. And people, don't put your social media buttons at the top of the page. Those are just, it's candy-colored exit buttons is all it is. Put all that stuff at the bottom, and people are savvy enough now to know if they don't see something at the top of the page, they're going to go to the bottom. They're going to look for it. And so if they want to know more about you, or if they want a contact us form, they'll look for it. It doesn't need to take up dominant real estate, on the top of your website.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, David, can you hear me?
I got you, Bob.
Daryl.
Oh, Daryl, I'm sorry. Bob raised his hand, and then
I didn't raise my hand. Bob, please go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Daryl.
I currently am having one. So I work for an integrated health system.
Okay.
And there's an organization that just became a subsidiary of a larger group, and I'm having the site rebuilt right now. Just started with an independent contractor. I have an internal marketing team.
Okay.
Both that smaller organization and then the larger organizations that serve several companies. I want to update both of those sites. Would your organization be willing to engage with this designer that I'm currently working with and figure out how to complete this first project? And then, we could talk about auditing the sites for the larger organization as well.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is we could step in as kind of consultants when it comes to creating the content. Because it sounds like you have designers and developers already doing the building. My question would be who's creating the content for you? Because a lot of times designers or developers, they might be pulling information from your old website or just making up from meetings with you and doing their own internal research, but they're not trained copywriters. So they can get the design right. They can make a really good looking website. So I would maybe offer to, just on a consultant basis, hey, can we work on content together? And then we could write that, we talked about that website wireframe. Right. We could create that, and you could hand that to your developers and say, hey, here's all the words I want you to use. And then, and then we can kind of come in and help audit and say, hey, maybe tweak this and add this here or there. But, if you've already got a design team, that's how we could help.
Okay, that sounds great. I have a gentleman that writes content for blog and some other things. He is one individual. So it would, I think, be great if, you know, I could use you as a consultant on both projects.
Yeah,
So,
we would love to.
so I'm on your site. What's the best way for us to connect?
Yeah, you know, actually, so we've got Zach put my email address in the chat. And so you can just snag that and just give just a quick introduction and, you know, remind me that we spoke over the call. And I don't know if you have any current live websites for the projects, just so I can get a little bit of background on what's going on.
Yeah, we do.
And then we can schedule a Zoom meeting next week and kind of spend some time one-on-one talking.
That sounds great.
Wonderful. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you.
Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I was gonna recommend that he test your lead generation system on your website, but anyway. Yeah, just a couple of questions. One, a lot of my clients are small businesses, and the first objection out of the box is always cost. And then if you make it kind of past convincing them to invest in marketing, sometimes that's web, sometimes it's other things. But if, to your point, if somebody just does have $300 or $500 a month, what would be the one thing you would start with, barring anything else? If they're never going to spend another dime, what would that one thing be?
So say
that would generate as much return on that investment as physically possible in their head, so.
Right. So, at that point, somebody just getting started, I would build the robustness of their website. So what we could offer at that point is, blog writing and backlinks and managing their social media campaigns. So that, for a typical solopreneur, somebody that doesn't have a whole bunch of money to spend on marketing, what I would say is build the content of your website for search engine optimization. Start getting backlinks to your site, which will help you grow, on your Google search results list. And then make sure you're active on your social media profiles, so that people, as they're researching you and investigating you, they see current content being produced. And then from there, I would say, okay, let's talk about adding a lead generator to your website. Let's talk about the more automated sales funnel stuff. But first step is making sure your website's, built properly and getting seen.
Awesome. Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, like I said, so we've got a brand new mini training. So it's an email every other day that talks all about sales funnels, what we talked about today, and you guys will get that. And I think that'll hopefully kind of just let some of this stuff sink in that we talked about. And if questions come up or you want more information, we also have an SEO mini training, a digital ads mini training. If you're interested in any of those things, we can provide those. And if you just have questions, you're like, I don't know what I need to do next. Here's my specific company. What you said sounded great, but I'm still confused. Let's just jump on a Zoom call and you can share kind of where you are at with your business, and we can just provide some guidance. All those meetings are always free. We're happy to do that. Again, we do this because we want to see you guys being successful. Our personal story, April was the biggest month for us because businesses that saw this as an opportunity and had some money to invest came to us and said, hey, we want a sales funnel. We want to make sure we're coming out of this strong. So again, not to toot our horn, but we are actually hiring. We're actually looking for somebody to become our new director of sales and marketing. So I'm mentioning that to you guys. So if you know somebody with some sales experience, somebody that's very driven, willing to learn, very energetic, we would love to meet them. And they can go to our website, indywebdesigners.com/careers, and fill out an application there. It's super simple, but we would love to meet with them. So thank you guys again so much for the opportunity to speak with you. And, I'm just excited that we're all hopefully seeing some light at the end of the tunnel here and getting ready to move past this. And hopefully this is a helpful plan that you could put in place to continue to grow your respective businesses. So That's all I've got, Diane.
Well, thank you, David and Zach. You know, this is exactly why we do what we do. You know, it's putting opportunities, one, to promote our members, but most importantly, the reason of this is to make those connections. I don't know if this is considered a one-liner. We consider it our one-liner, connecting communities, advancing businesses. And it's really letting people know who you are, but it's so much of what we do on a daily basis, Lexi and myself, is, you know, we're getting calls. Hey, I need help with this. So, you know, we are the solution provider. We don't have all the solutions ourselves, but we most certainly have wonderful chamber members that can be a solution provider for, you know, probably every need that you need, you know, professionally and personally. And this is, we hear a lot about businesses that, you know, don't have a website or social media, or, you know, it's just in basic stages. And really one of their greatest challenges in that is just the time, their resource of time to do all of that, you know, themselves. So, you know, we're always encouraging, no matter what someone's biggest challenge is, how can we help them find a solution so they can get to doing what they do, you know, how they help people. And so, you know, I think you've probably made some great connections here today. You know, I did have to take a few notes, but it was more, I look forward to receiving that information, but it was things that, you know, we're a nonprofit organization, but we're a business. We're nonprofit by our tax status, but we are a business. So knowing what we need, you know, to do, always telling that, you know, one-liner and saying it again and again, and just ask Lexi. I tell her it's about a 10 time, you know, before people kind of, it resonates, you know, with them. So thank you for having my back and saying that again today, right, Lex? But, you know, again, reach out to us if we can provide any connections, you know, with you. You will get, as David said, you'll get this information. So please reach out to them. They're here to help. I think the one thing that I hear over and over during COVID-19, I personally think, as big as a challenge this is, there's some great things that have come out. And really what it is, what you guys said today, even, you're here to help. You know, you're here for a free phone call or that initial meeting. Everybody wants to see everyone be as successful as they can be. We're excited. Lexi and I are gonna kind of hit the streets today a little bit, letting people know that our businesses are, you know, if they've been not able to do business in person, or maybe haven't been able to be open because they weren't an essential business, we are getting back to business, and we will tie Boone County together stronger than ever. So when you see those blue ribbons and signs around, or if you, I know some of you on this call have called us for a sign and ribbon, let us know. That's what we're here, you know, for, is to really showcase you, and we all will, you know, get back to business stronger than ever. So on that, any last thoughts? Lex, anything? Go finish your work day and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope to see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
And in person soon.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Take care.